Everyone. Thank you for joining the Natural Wonders of Newfoundland webinar. My name is Sandra Reimer. I work with TourMagination on their communication. TourMagination has been helping people of faith to explore, experience, and expand their worlds through group travel for the past 49 years. This summer, we're offering the Natural Wonders of Newfoundland tour in partnership with Bonaventure Travel. To tell you more about this fabulous tour, we have Bonaventure President Mike Croker and Newfoundland itinerary expert Darcy Garderis. In a minute, I'm going to turn the webinar over to Mike. After he and Darcy tell you about the tour, there will be time for questions. You can type your questions at the bottom of your screen in the chat section. Mike will read the questions, and he and Darcy will answer them. Now, I want to welcome Mike Croker.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, I guess afternoon for some of you. Again, my name is Mike Croker, and I am the owner and president of Bonaventure Travel in Winnipeg, Canada. Bonaventure Travel has been in business for about 30 years. I purchased the agency in 2017 from longtime owner Ruth Wiebe. And we have a team of travel professionals that do everything from air specialty groups, we do land groups, we do it all, cruise. And we have partnered with TourMagination, and we started our partnership by taking over all the air for them. So any TourMagination tour, if you're a client to TourMagination, you will probably most likely give us a call, and we will end up ticketing your air for you. And it's just evolved from there. We're now kind of hosting specialized groups together, and I'm really excited about this particular tour because I will be escorting it along with a private guide. And I'm really looking forward to seeing Newfoundland because I've been to the East Coast, but I haven't been to Newfoundland. So I'm really, really excited to do this. And I will now turn it over to my colleague, Darcy Garderis. She's going to go through the tour itinerary with you. And then at the end, we'll have about a 10-minute Q&A, and we can answer any questions that you might have about the itinerary, about getting there, but we'll leave that to the end. So I'll turn it over to Darcy now, and enjoy.
Good morning. Thank you, Michael. Good morning, good afternoon to everyone. It's great to be here. As Michael has said, my name is Darcy Garderis. I'm thrilled to be here with you to talk about probably one of my favorite places in all of Canada, Newfoundland, and this fabulous tour that's offered by TourMagination and Bonaventure Travel. It's super exciting that Mike will be hosting this tour because I've actually had the pleasure of traveling on 2 other tours with Michael, and I can tell you not only is he a fabulous tour person to travel with on a tour, he's also a ton of fun. So you'll have a lot of laughs and really enjoy all that Newfoundland has to offer. I'm going to take myself off the camera, and we'll present a short PowerPoint presentation with some highlights on exactly what will be included in this wonderful tour. So just give me 1 second here. Okay. Let's get started. I am currently in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I know a few of you are in the east, and some of you are from our lovely neighborhood down south from the US. So thank you for joining us. This tour is called the Natural Wonders of Newfoundland Tour. It is from August 4th to August 13th. And as I mentioned, Mike will be hosting this tour along with a guide, a specific guide that is an expert in everything Newfoundland. This tour, this is a great map of where you would be traveling on this tour. It does start by flying into Deer Lake, And then from Deer Lake, we do transfer you. Transfers are included from the airport to Corner Brook, Newfoundland. Upon arrival in Corner Brook, you will be meeting the rest of your group at a lovely welcome dinner where you get to meet everyone that you will be traveling with. And we'll tuck you in for the night and then start our tour the next morning from Corner Brook to Gros Morne. The next morning, which would be day 2, we depart from from Corner Brook into Gros Morne, where you will be exploring the tablelands, which is one of the very few places in the whole entire world where the Earth's mantle is revealed. A national park interpreter is going to join you on this tour, and there's a short little hike that morning. It's not like a strenuous hike. It's going to be comfortable. Just about anyone can do it. So this is really, really comfortable. And then from there, from Gros Morne, we're going to have you head off into St. Anthony. But before we do that, within the park, you're going to see, hopefully, fingers crossed, a whole lot of wildlife, perhaps some moose, maybe some caribou. There'll be some beautiful waterfalls and some really terrific stops along the way if you are looking to take some iconic photos. That's for sure. There's also a boat cruise included in this tour. And then I must mention, at some point during this day, you will be screeched in. And for those of you who don't know what screeched in means, you'll have the opportunity to try a local beverage. It's a lot of fun. And then you actually have the opportunity to kiss a cod. I've been very fortunate and been able to kiss the cod at least twice in my life, which is a ton of fun. And then from there, we head to the northerly tip of Newfoundland to Lansdowne Meadows National Historic Park, which is actually a World UNESCO Heritage Site. And then from there into Gander. Most of you have probably heard of Gander, very famous because there's a musical that is extremely popular right now, where it's called Come From Away, where the people of Gander hosted dozens and dozens of passengers during the 9/11 tragedy. So it's a very touching, beautiful musical that highly recommend, and it's really special to be able to stop in Gander and spend some time there. From Gander, there is a day tour that goes up to Twillingate, and then you'll be visiting a lighthouse there and the fishery as well, and then to St. John's. And I'll break this down a little bit more in the future here in the webinar. From St. John's, there is a tour, the Irish Loop tour, that is included as well. Oops, there we go. Oops, sorry, just want to jump ahead here. All of these things are included. What's really great about this product and this particular tour that Mike is hosting to Newfoundland is it's a very inclusive tour. I've got a couple of slides here with the highlights. Gros Morne National Park. With the boating tour, you're not only going to be on the land, but you're also going to be on the water. So we're hoping that you'll see lots of wildlife in both areas. Heading up to Twillingate, you will, as I mentioned, visit Long Point Lighthouse and the Prime Birth Museum, which is actually a fishery. In addition to that, you will be visiting the historic site, which is the UNESCO World Heritage Site. And then I'm doing an actual tour that is focused on the sites in Gander from the play Come From Away, and visiting Terra Nova National Park, of course. It's a must-see. There's the opportunity to visit the North Atlantic Aviation Museum, as well as doing a wonderful sightseeing tour that includes Signal Hill, Cape Spear, and Kitaviti village. Kitaviti is really special because this is a village full of artisans where you can go in and see them working on their local artisan crafts, as well as trying this, if you like beer, they have this wonderful iceberg beer that you can try there that is absolutely fabulous. It comes in a royal blue bottle, and there's a story behind it. In fact, the bottle is so beautiful that they went through I think they're still having problems with it. No one's returning the bottles back to the brewery like normally with regular beer bottles they're returned back and recycled, but no one's returning them because they're so pretty. A lot of the artisans and crafters are making incredible products out of these bottles and selling them locally. Also included in this tour is the Irish Loop tour that I mentioned previously on the Avalon Peninsula. So this is where you'll actually get to go to the departure point where Amelia Earhart, when she became the first woman to fly the Atlantic, which is incredible. And along here, we also take you out on a whale watching tour. Not only will you hopefully see whales, but you should have the opportunity to see puffins and lots of other marine life, which is very exciting. So let me just skip to the next slide for you here. One of the things I like to talk about when it comes to Newfoundland, I am living currently on the West Coast, which of course is known for the wonderful seafood here. But I got to tell you, there's something special about Newfoundland and the food. If you're not a seafood lover, don't worry. There's all kinds of other wonderful things that will dawn your plate. But I do like to talk a bit about the seafood in Newfoundland because it really is a highlight for a lot of people with the Atlantic Canada lobster and the mussels and so on. Absolutely the freshest, honest to goodness, the freshest seafood I've ever had anywhere in the world. Wonderful restaurants. In this, we'll touch a little bit on that with the meals while we're talking about food. Many of the meals are included in this tour. Full breakfast is included every single day. And we've also included the tipping for the restaurants and for the porterage into the hotels. And the reason we do that is because we want to keep it as simple as possible for you. When you have breakfast in the morning and it's included, you don't have to dig into your pocket and pull out money to throw on the table because it is included. All of the attractions that I have mentioned already are also included in this tour. We don't want you reaching inside your pocket. We want you to be relaxed, enjoy. We will have the interpretive guide that will be accompanying you as well. So not only will you have Mike there to assist you should there be any problems whatsoever, we don't anticipate any, but if something happens and you have a health issue along the way, you do have Mike there to help you as well as our interpretive guide. I always say, when you're traveling along by yourself, if let's say you're doing a self-drive vacations, they're wonderful too, but it sure does make a huge difference when you're looking at an attraction to know exactly what you're looking at, to hear the stories and hear the history of where you are makes all the difference in your journey. One of the things that I love probably the very most about Newfoundland truly is the people and the connection they have to their past. Newfoundlanders are definitely storytellers, and the heart of Newfoundland is truly their music. So if you're looking for an experience where you're touching base with the locals and really experiencing the local music, that's what I loved about Newfoundland. St. John's in particular, it doesn't matter what day of the week it is. It can be a Tuesday or a Wednesday night. You can walk down the main street in St. John's and there's all kinds of local pubs and restaurants, and you can walk into just about any one of them and you'll have a different style of music playing. There might be 2 or 3 people in there, but they'll still have live entertainment. I think that's really special. You don't find that many places in the world. I do like to tell a quick story about when I was in Newfoundland. My husband and I were there. We were traveling with my son who was playing soccer, going to soccer nationals. So we did have one evening in St. John's before we headed out the next morning. We decided to hit a local pub so we could hear some local music. Well, when we got there, we decided we were just going to stay for 1 glass of wine or 1 beer, and then we were going to head back to the hotel because we had to leave early in the morning. Well, we got there and there was this fabulous band playing, and we noticed this lovely couple, an older couple sitting, a little bit older than us, sitting at the bar. Both sipping a glass of red wine. And we noticed them because they looked really happy and they looked like they were really enjoying the music. So we ended up staying much longer than we anticipated, had a wonderful evening. And at the end of the evening, I had decided that I wanted to purchase the CD. This is when CDs were still a thing. I guess they're fading now, but I wanted to purchase the CD with the music from the band so that the next day I could listen to this music while I was driving on my merry way. So my husband said, of course, go and get it. So I reached into my purse and I pulled out a $20 bill and I was about to walk over to the band. And wouldn't you know, this lovely couple from the bar came walking over to us and they handed us the CD. And I said, whoa, I was so confused. What's happening? What's going on? I said, oh my gosh, I was just about to go and buy this. And they said, oh, no. We wanted to give you this token of Newfoundland. We purchased it for you because we had such a wonderful time enjoying the show, watching you enjoy the show. And we really engaged with the band and spoke with them and had a wonderful evening. And that'll always stay with me because the connection we made with the local people, where does that happen? That someone leaves their table and comes over and gives a gift to complete strangers. That is the true meaning of what it's like to be in Newfoundland. I love this photo because it really does give you an idea. I wish the sky was more blue because on a blue sky day, it is absolutely spectacular. But I do love this photograph because it is an iconic photo of the spectacular colors of Newfoundland. If you've flown on Air Canada recently, you may have seen the advertisements, the videos that they show about the colors of Newfoundland. They've actually just switched it over. I do fly all the time, so they've just switched it over, and I've seen that they've now got the sounds of Newfoundland. They are by far the best promotional ads ever for a destination, and they paint the most beautiful picture of what Newfoundland is like, and it really is a colorful, wonderful, happy place to be. This is another great shot. This is truly the epitome of what it feels like to be in Newfoundland, to see, be near the ocean with the locals. I threw this photograph in because I just love the feeling and what it portrays as to what Newfoundland's all about. Of course, I mentioned the Puffins. Wildlife is a huge part of this tour and Newfoundland. I mean, it's never guaranteed that you're going to see all of it, but and most likely you will see the Puffins, which are absolutely adorable. And on the whale watching tour, we do hope that you will see whales and so on. Newfoundland is known for its moose. So I'm hoping that you will have the opportunity to see some moose, which are much, much larger than you can possibly imagine. So that is a huge part of this tour as well. Included in this particular tour, of course, the accommodation is included. It's a moderate category, clean, well located, very comfortable. And the transportation, of course, is included in a private coach for your group. Upon arrival, I did mention that the airport transfers are included. There are 2 transfers during the day because there's 2 flights that get in. So it doesn't matter which flight you come in on, we'll make sure that you are taken care of and get you to the hotel where you'll meet the rest of your group. What's really great about this tour and any tour traveling in a group is traveling with like-minded travelers, and it's always special the first night to get together and meet everyone. And it is a small group, so compared to some of our competitors that offer large groups, it's a lot more intimate. Which is nice too. And when you have a smaller group, it also increases your chances of having a window seat. All of those attractions I did mention are included in the price, no additional cost. The 9 breakfasts and 5 dinners. It's very unusual to have that many dinners included in a tour, but we wanted to keep this very inclusive. And then we do give you lots of freedom during the day for lunches. It's nice to have a choice. Wherever you go, there usually is at least 1 or 2 choices as to where you can, 2 or 3 choices as to where you can go and eat in a local place. We do want you to have the local experience if possible. And then the gratuities. This is also very unusual. Not only are we including the gratuities when it comes to the restaurants where the meals are included and the porterage when they carry your bags into the hotel, but also for the driver and the guide, the person driving the bus and the guide. It is customary to pay a gratuity to them at the end of the tour. You will not have to do that because it is included, and we are keeping it as simple as possible. The pricing on this, we do have Canadian pricing and US pricing for our friends from the US. Canadian price, $4,175 per person. That's based on double occupancy, so that's 2 people in the room, and that price is per person for 2 people in the room. And then US, it seems a lot lower. As you can see, the value for our US friends, it is a great value because we are definitely on sale for you, with our dollar being not nearly as strong as yours at $3,225 per person, again, based on double occupancy. What's really exciting is that there are a lot of single travelers out there. And if you're looking at cruise lines, quite often they do almost charge you double to have one person in a cruise cabin. We don't like to do that because we do understand that there's a lot of people who do travel on their own. So we add a single supplement, but it's not gigantic. It's actually really quite reasonable. We don't try and gouge you or make any additional money off you because you're traveling by yourself. We just cover the basic costs of having a single room. So the additional cost for the entire duration for a single room in Canadian dollars is $615, and for US dollars it's $474. So you can see that's a really great value. So that concludes my presentation. The deposit for this tour is $500 per person. That may be slightly different for US, but in Canadian dollars. And if you speak to Michael or your travel advisor, they can let you know on that. And then the final payment is due 70 days before. I'm going to put my camera back on, and I think Michael can put his back on. And I do see a question that just came up. What the weather will be like. It's actually the best time ever to travel in August. The weather should be, knock on wood, absolutely perfect. It's my favorite time to travel to Newfoundland is actually going into the fall. So August, September are the best times. So a light jacket, we always tell you to layer your clothing. We do recommend something a light top, then a sweater and a jacket so you can remove your clothing as you go along. Do bring an umbrella or a light rainwear, but I don't anticipate you're going to get rain. Any other questions? Did you have any questions coming? Oh, here we go. What kind of food besides seafood? Well, they have just about everything. Some of the best pasta I've ever had I had in Newfoundland, believe it or not. They have all kinds of meat for vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free. We'll do everything we can if you advise your travel advisor. If you do have specific dietary restrictions, we can definitely request gluten-free. And in most cases, because Newfoundland is not a remote destination, sometimes when we work with remote destinations, it's a little bit more difficult. So yeah, just about anything. A lot of beef, even lamb, wonderful, wonderful food. But if you're a seafood lover, I'm telling you, it's the best. How long will the drive be per day? Okay, for each day, the length of duration on the coach, we try not to spend too much time on the coach. We know you want to be experiencing things. I do believe there's one longer day, and I think the maximum amount of the coach may be 3 or 4 hours at a time, and that's really on the longest day, maybe a tiny bit longer. But there's no 8-hour days on a coach. That's not what we want to do to you. We don't want you to be sitting stuck in a coach. We want you to get out to smell, taste, and experience the local experiences. Will there be any time for shopping? Okay, so we don't really focus on shopping. There is some free time on your own. Definitely we'll create some free time for you. We are not a company that takes you and says, we're going to put you here and you're going to shop here because this is a place that we recommend. We don't work with local stores and things like that, or get kickbacks or anything like that. If someone says, I'm really looking for this particular kind of whether it's a sweater, a local kind of sweater, that kind of thing, we'll definitely make recommendations and help you that way, but we would never steer you in that direction. But you will have free time, yes. Oh, here we go. Kinds of crafts and arts and crafts. Oh, okay. So arts and crafts, definitely awesome. A lot of glassware, a lot of hand-painted glassware. Chocolatiers. I went into a fabulous chocolatier there. Actually, there's some. They do have of course, Screech. You definitely want to buy a bottle of Screech to bring it home with you to share with your friends. But there was a lot of painters and just a lot of really unique handcrafted things. I know I love going to markets in any place around the world. It's the first place I always go to is a market. And I do recall at Kitiviti Village, going in there and seeing the local artisans, beautiful watercolor paintings, things like that. So a real array of different arts and crafts that will be available if you do like to shop.
Doris, I should also touch upon airfare. For those of you, I don't think I've booked any airfare yet on this tour. If anybody wants me to look after that, I can certainly arrange that. We'll be flying into Deer Lake, and there's not, even coming from the US, there's not that many carriers that go into Deer Lake. It'll most likely be Air Canada, and there's only about 2 or 3 flights a day into Deer Lake, and the return will be out of St. John's, Newfoundland, most likely with a connection via Toronto, Montreal, or maybe another hub in the US, like New York or something like that. And I can arrange that, and we can also do pre and post, or if anybody wants to deviate at the end and add on to go to Nova Scotia, something like that, I can certainly arrange that and work with TourMagination on that.
That was one of the things I was going to mention as well, Mike, is that there's so many other options to extend or go in early, but lots of options to extend at the end of the tour. So if you'd like to extend and go, like Mike said, to Nova Scotia or any of the other Atlantic provinces, absolutely. If you've come that far and you want to spend a little bit more time, we can make that happen with the team.
Yeah.
I don't see any other questions.
Nope.
We'll give it another minute. I do believe that there will be a link to go to the website so you can look at the itinerary that will be provided at the end of the webinar. I think we're good.
I think so.
Okay, well, thank you for having me, Mike and Sandra. I really enjoyed doing this webinar. I do love to talk about Newfoundland, as you can tell. Love Canada overall, so it's my favorite place in the world. And I thank you, Mike, for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for hosting, and thank you, Sandra, for putting this together. Thanks, everybody, for joining us, and we're going to sign off now, and we'll send you the link for the recording. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Bye.